Welcome to my channel, YouTube viewers. I am Sri Tips, and this is part 4 of the stock pot refining videos series. And if it looks like I'm reading while I'm talking here, it's because I am. I've got some very specific things that I'd like to say before I get started with the video number 4 here. In part 3, I concluded that removing the gold before the platinum group metals was not the way to go. That taking the platinum group metals out first and leaving the gold in solution was the way to go. But now I'm thinking not so fast. In my limited experience with refining platinum group metals, I've found that the platinum group metals are hard to put into solution. They don't want to dissolve. And once you get the metals precipitated out, they have a tendency, if you just leave them set, they have a tendency to want to go back into solution. And you can never get a 100% precipitation of the platinum group metals. On the other hand, gold, it goes into solution fairly easily. When you precipitate the gold sponge, it stays precipitated, provided you don't have a whole bunch of excess nitric acid in with the gold. And I can get a 100% precipitation by adding SMB to any gold solution, to any gold that I have in solution. And I know how to get traces of platinum group metals out of my gold, but getting a gold solution out of the platinum group metals precipitates is a whole different issue. I'm not sure exactly how to go through that process. So it makes sense to take the gold out first and then get the platinum group metals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another look at that sample from the main solution that I added the SMB to precipitate the gold. I'm going to take another look at that, and we're going to do a few more tests with that solution. Plus, my wife is like, "You've been working for a week now. Where's the metals?" She was on me to get this stock pot going, and so now she wants to see some metal. So today what I'm going to do is that solution that I dissolved in aqua regia, where I had precipitated, or I mean not precipitated, but incinerated the material that I filtered out of those solutions. What I'm going to do, I dissolved that incinerated material in aqua regia and got a bunch of gold in it. So I'm going to begin part 4 today by working with that solution, see if I can precipitate out the pure gold and get us a yield. So let's get right to it. Everything's right where I left it. Here's our main solution. It's going to have all our platinum metals in it and a little bit of gold. Here's the test precipitation I did with some ammonium chloride. Test precipitation I did with some sodium chlorate. I'm going to set these up back here out of the way. And what we'll do is bring over this gold solution here, and I'm going to start working with this, see if I can get us a yield today. Here's my solution that I'm going to do some more tests on. That's the sample from the main solution that I added some SMB to. Alright, I'll begin by getting this little bit of gold here poured down into this filter if I can, carefully. There's probably half a gram or so of gold down in there. So I'll set this aside. I'll throw that in with my next batch of carrot scrap. And as you can see here, our gold solution, this is from the incinerated material. is settled out. It's nice and clear. I'm going to set up a filter now. Go ahead and filter this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you how this funnel system works here. This is a Buckner funnel. It's got a whole bunch of perforations in the floor there. I've got a little rubber seal that goes down over the flask there. That's a 1 liter sidearm flask. I got a hose connected to it that goes to my vacuum system over there. I use a HVAC vacuum pump, the kind that the air conditioner people use. Works pretty good. It's been in service for about 8 years now. This is a piece of filter paper that fits exactly inside the funnel there. It's a Wattman #2 medium flow filter paper. I just get a sheet of this out. I can with my gloves on here. Stick it in the funnel and then wet it down. And then I'll turn my vacuum pump on and we'll put a vacuum on that system there and pull the solution through very quickly. I've got my vacuum pump on. As you can see, the funnel is being sucked down onto the flask there by the vacuum. I'm going to siphon the solution out of this beaker here. It's got a bunch of sediment down in the bottom there. It's been allowed to settle overnight. So I don't want that sediment pouring over into this filter. It'll slow the filtering process way down. It's best to vacuum off the, siphon off the solution first, if I can get it to work here. Here it comes. By siphoning this solution off, I won't upset that sediment. This liquid will pass through the filter very quickly. If I tried to pour that solution, the sediment would become upset, plug up the filter, and slow this operation way down. So I'm siphoning off the clear liquid first before I pour the sediment in. I'm going to rinse out the tube here. Rinse it out real good with distilled water. And now I'm going to go ahead and pour the sediment in. I don't know what that's going to be. That looks maybe, I don't know, rhodium? Who knows? Some of it might pass through the filter and get down into my gold. It's a finely divided looking material here. Here's our gold solution. It's fairly clear. Got a bunch of gray material up here in the filter. Not quite sure what that is. Here's a good look at the sediment that came out of that incineration. It's a gray material and some other assorted junk down in there. I'll save this in my filter storage. Filtering operation is done. What we're going to do is move this up here now and pour this solution into the beaker that it came out of. I've rinsed it out. Pour this right back in here. precipitate the gold with some sodium metabisulfite, and it should come down pretty quickly and cleanly. When I dissolved this, I only used about 27 ml of concentrated nitric, so I shouldn't have a whole bunch of excess nitric in there with it. Granted that everybody knows what I'm doing here, but for the benefit of people that have never seen this before, this is called a policeman. It's just a rubber tip that goes over the end of the stirring rod here, so it doesn't put a bunch of scratches in my beaker. This is our gold. It's all settled out. I'm going to pour it off into my temporary stock pot here. My new stock pot's already full, so I'm just going to pour this solution off into here, and then we'll collect the gold in a filter, redissolve it, and refine it one more time. Nice little plug of gold there. And here's our gold. I'm going to add the filter from the other little bit of gold that we precipitated out earlier. Put them both in the same container. And now what we'll do is rinse this off with a little bit of hydrochloric acid. And then I'm going to get them back in a beaker and redissolve it. I'm going to get the gold into this beaker now. And we'll cover it with some hydrochloric acid, about 100 ml or so. And then what I'll do, cover it up. I'm going to put it up here on the heat. Half an ml of sulfuric acid. Take care of any lead. Now I'm going to add some small doses of nitric acid here and redissolve the gold. It's about 1.5 ml. Another 1.5, so I got 3 ml in there. Now I know it's going to take more than 3, so I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more here. There's 2 more. That's 4 more. So I got 4, I got 7 in there now. Our gold's been on here less than 5 minutes. Take a look here. As you can see, everything's going into solution now. Go ahead and turn this off and let this cool down. Our gold has been chilled. I'm going to put an ice cube in there to cool it down. Get it at 47.5 Fahrenheit, 8.6 degrees Celsius. Got the solution filtered. Now what I'll do is put it back in the beaker, and we'll precipitate out pure gold. I'm going to use copperas this time to precipitate out the gold. This is some copperas that I dissolved in hot water earlier. I'm going to use it to precipitate the pure gold. I think I still got gold in solution here. I'm going to give it a quick test. Oh yeah, I can see the yellow color there. Status applied. Guess not. I could have swore I had gold in solution. Transfer the waste solution now into this temporary stock pot that I've got set up here. My stock pot, normal stock pot, is full at the time. Now we'll get the gold down in the filter. As usual, rinse the gold, a little bit of hydrochloric acid here. Okay, here's our gold that we precipitated. Kind of disappointing, looks like just a few grams there. Get it back up in the jar here and redissolve it one more time. Add some more hydrochloric acid here. Up to the 100 ml level. Covered up. Get it back up on the heat. Alright, we're going to add some sulfuric acid. I'm going to add about 5 ml of concentrated nitric acid here. There's 2. 4. And one more here. It's 5 ml. Just like last time, took less than 5 minutes for everything to go in solution. We'll pull it out here and let it cool off. Now we'll filter the solution. Wanted to get a close-up shot here of those little droplets of gold that splashed up onto the outside of the beaker. This is how losses happen. They all add up. Little bitty things like this create losses. out the pure gold. Pour this right back into the same beaker it came out of. Adding sodium metabisulfite here to precipitate out the pure gold. While I'm waiting for this gold to settle, I want to do a few more tests on these solutions. Let me get set up here right quick. I'm going to put the gold back here, let it settle. Take a look at these solutions. Again, I've got them numbered. I've got number 1 is the main solution. Number 2 is the ammonium chloride to experiment. Number 3 is the sodium chlorate, and number 4 is the SMP. I'm going to get a sample of the number 1 solution and put some drops in the first row here, labeled 1 of my spot plate. Now I'm going to get a sample of the ammonium chloride solution that was used to drop out platinum previously. That's number 2. Now we'll get a sample of the sodium chlorate test. And now I'll get some of the solution from our SMP test. Got all 4 of our solutions here. This is the main solution, the ammonium chloride solution, the sodium chlorate solution, and the SMB solution. On the first row, I'm going to add a crystal of ferrous sulfate to each of the cavities in the spot plate there. We'll just watch and see what happens. Just a little bit of ferrous sulfate. Alright, these 2 cavities that back here got a little bit of ferrous sulfate spilled over into them, but that's okay. You can see that there's a reaction of gold precipitating out from the ferrous sulfate. In the first row, the main solution has gold in it. The ferrous sulfate reacted with the gold and is forming a brown cloud. The second solution, the one that had ammonium chloride added, it turned brown. I got a brown cloud around the ferrous sulfate. That means there's gold in that solution. In with the ammonium chloride precipitated platinum. In the chlorate sample, I've got a brown cloud there, which indicates I've got gold precipitating out from the ferrous sulfate. That's in the chlorate sample that I used to drop some palladium in test tube number 3. And then over here, the SMB sample, there's no brown cloud, which tells me that there's no gold in solution here. So all the gold was removed from the SMB test that I did on sample number 4. Now I'm going to add a drop of stannous to the second row here of all 4 samples. In this test, I've got gold in solution, or precious metals is all this really tells me, because the solution turned dark. It doesn't distinguish which kind of precious metal I have. It's just indicating precious metals. This one, same thing. Same thing. Over here, if you'll notice, the SMB cavity has got a nice orange stain. And there's a little bit of brown forming underneath of it, which tells me I've got platinum and palladium only in this solution. I've got a little DMG in this bottle here, dissolved in just water. It doesn't dissolve very well in water, but enough will go into solution to do this test. Add a drop to each one of these. Alright, in this final test, look up here, I've got some green things forming in here. Not quite sure what that is. That's from the main solution. Here's the ammonium chloride solution. Here's the chlorate solution. And then here's our SMB test. Based on these test results, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add SMB to my main solution to get all the gold out of it, like this. And then once I get all the gold precipitated out, I'll allow it to settle, siphon off that platinum group solution that will be left sitting on top of the gold, and then proceed from there. Piece of copper to this copper screen, let any precious metals that are in there cement out, and then I'll just add anything that comes out of solution into my stock pot, put the waste solution in my waste treatment bucket. This is our solution with the SMB added to it, the test from the main solution, and you can see there's some sediment settled out down there. I believe that's gold. And if you look through this solution, I'm trying to shine a light through it, but it is clear, and it's a red burgundy color. This is the color that I would expect to see if I had platinum and palladium in solution. I'm going to transfer the solution out of this beaker into this one and leave the residue behind in this beaker. I think it's gold. Actually, I had this epiphany last night as I was reading some comments. I think there's a viewer named, I think it was NJ. I can't remember the whole name, but anyway, I was reading his comment. He was saying something about being a scientist. As he watched my videos, he got to vicariously be a scientist by watching me work. And it was while I was reading that comment that it suddenly occurred to me, I already know what to do here. Just take the gold out of the solution, get this platinum solution separated from the gold after it's precipitated with SMB. I don't want to use ferrous sulfate because I'm going to be putting zinc in here to precipitate out these metals. If I use ferrous sulfate, it's got iron in it and it will precipitate out on the zinc. So I want to use SMB to precipitate the gold out of my main solution, and then gather up this solution and use zinc to drop this. And I had that sudden realization as I was reading his comment last night. I send out a word of thanks to NJ. Got most of that solution drawn off, and all I'm left with here is some residue in the bottom of the beaker. What I'm going to do now, set this thing down flat, and then I'm going to use a little bit of hydrochloric acid here to rinse that residue in the bottom. I think it's gold. By adding this hydrochloric acid, that shouldn't hurt a thing. And we'll just set this off to the back here and let this settle out. And then what I want to do is turn my attention to this solution, which is my platinum and palladium in solution. I'm going to get another status test here just to verify that I got metals in solution here. I know I do, but I just want to do this test. Get a nice orange colored stain. Tells me I got platinum in solution. Probably some palladium in there with it. Here's the residue in the bottom of that beaker. I'm not quite sure what that is. Doesn't quite look like gold. I'll do some more tests on that. Looks like the solution, that hydrochloric acid I added, it's got a green tint to it, so there's going to be some more palladium in there. Now what I'm going to do over here, this solution, I've got some pieces of zinc here. I'm just going to drop a few pieces of zinc into this platinum and palladium solution that's had the gold removed from it, and see what happens. Should have used a bigger beaker. Some good stuff here. I think this is the way I'm going to proceed. I know how to do this right here. I've done this before with the zinc to get the platinum and palladium out of solution. Here's our solution. Looks like the metals have come down out of solution. I still see a little bit of color in there, so I'm going to add a few more pieces of zinc and let it react a little longer. The solution that the hydrochloric acid I poured on that precipitated gold from the SMB test. I really don't like flipping back and forth in these procedures, but I've got the gold up here settled out real good, and I want to go ahead and get this done. So I'm going to set these back up in the back out of the way, and I'm going to go with the gold right now. And what I'm going to do is, let me get this out of the way. I'm going to pour the gold solution. It's cleared up now real good. I'm just going to go ahead and pour this into my temporary stock pot. Pour off the waste solution. out of the way now. Get our gold solution back up here and get it processed. Got a filter here. Install it down in the funnel. And then we'll filter out our gold. Rinse the gold with some hydrochloric acid here. Rinse the gold off with a little bit of distilled water here. Okay, now I'm going to get the gold into this melt dish here. I'm going to get the gold from over here, over onto my melt table, put some borax on it. Go ahead and start the melt. Here's our gold button. It's got a little bit of flux on it, so what I'm going to do, I've got about 75 ml of tap water in there. I'm going to draw up about, 3.5 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid. I'm going to add it to that. And then what we're going to do is put our button in there. And this will get all that sulfur, or all that flux that's adhering to the button. It'll dissolve it all off of there. Got the heat on medium. This is the metals that I've cemented out with the zinc. It is, man, there's a ton of metal in there. These are going to be platinum group metals cemented out on zinc. I think this is the way to go, man. This is absolutely wonderful. I don't know if you can see that very good or not, but I got a bunch of metal in there cemented out on that zinc. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at this. This is the solution that I rinsed. Hydrochloric acid, I rinsed the gold off from the bottom of there. I still got to determine if that's actually gold. So what I'm going to do is add this to my stock pot. This has just got SMB and some hydrochloric acid. And that does look like gold down there. Find out in a minute. I'll get that in a filter. Oh, there's some gray looking material down there too. It might be some platinum, I don't know. Or maybe rhodium. This is the SMB beaker that I put SMB in this solution. the main solution and precipitated out some solids here. I'm going to try to get these into a beaker here. Man, I don't know what the heck that is. It's gray. Back here I have the solution that had some sodium chlorate added to it, and I got a palladium precipitation. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add that right into my stock pot. See that red residue there? That's the palladium that precipitated out after we put the sodium chlorate in it. Red. Put it right in my stock pot. No problem. Okay, the final solution here is going to be the put this in there. The final solution I'm dealing with here will be the ammonium chloride. It had the platinum precipitated out on the bottom down there, and I think that green colored stuff on top of it is palladium. I'm not sure, but anyway, this has got ammonia in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside. I'll decant this liquid and cement any precious metals that's in the liquid out with copper, and then I'll redissolve the precipitate with a little hot aqua regia and then add it back into my stock pot. So this will get processed separately. It's got ammonia in it. Don't want that in my stock pot. This is my platinum solution. I think this is going to be the real prize here. It's got a bunch of platinum group metals that have cemented out on the zinc, and I think this is going to be where the nice yield is right here. Mostly platinum, probably platinum and palladium. I've got hydrochloric acid here. I'm going to add a little bit of it to the solids in this filter. See what happens, see if anything will dissolve. There's some solid material coming through the filter there, so it's very fine material that's being pushed through the filter. Still got a little bit of a gray appearance in there, but some of the solids were dissolved by that hydrochloric acid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the I'm going to take this filter, I'm going to put it in here, then I'm going to use some cold aqua regia. Just going to put some cold aqua regia in there and see what that does. I'm going to add a little bit of hydrochloric acid to this filter. It's about up to the 35, 40 ml level there. Now I'm going to add about 2 ml of concentrated nitric. I'm just going to let this sit now and see what happens. While we're waiting for that cold aqua regia to do its thing, we'll go ahead and get our button out of here and see what we got. Nice. Looks good. Oh yeah, that's a pure gold button if I ever seen one. Got a real nice finish on it. Wow, nice. Let's see what we got for a weight here. 7.9 grams of pure gold. And this is a very, very shiny piece of gold here. Pure gold, 24K, 3 nines, fine. I'm going to stamp fine gold on it. Here's our little gold bead from the stock pot. I'll put this on my eBay store and put it up for bids. Starting bid will be 99 cents. Here's our solution that I have had it sitting in some cold aqua regia. If you look down at the bottom of the filter there, there's still some solids down there that did not dissolve. And I'm thinking that that's going to be the rhodium. I don't know. I haven't been this far and never refined my stock pot, but I'm going to get a sample of this solution here. And I've got some ferrous sulfate crystals down here in the bottom of that spot plate cavity. I'm going to add some of our solution. This should be gold. And as you can see, that brown cloud that forms around the ferrous sulfate crystals, that means we got gold in solution. Almost through with part 4 here. I'm going to do a little review. This is my main solution. What I'm going to do with this is add this to a large beaker. I'm going to put SMB in here and precipitate out the gold. Over here I've got my ammonium chloride test. That's going to get treated separately. I don't want that going into my stock pot, so I'll treat that separately. Cement the metals out on copper and rinse all that off, and then add the ammonia to my waste treatment outside so it doesn't fill up the shop. Here is the platinum group metals that I have cemented out on zinc. That's working real good. And then down here, the residue that I've filtered off after adding the SMB is in this beaker right here. I put cold aqua regia on it and got gold. That's what that little cloud is right there. And then of course I got my little button that I refined out of this batch from the gold that I recovered from the incinerated materials. So I've got one more step here, and that's to transfer my main solution into a large beaker and precipitate it with SMB, and this video will be done. I'll add this test solution to the beaker. It's got the piece of copper in it. Just when I thought I was done, I remembered I haven't added any sulfuric acid to my solution here to precipitate out lead. So I'm going to do that now, mix it up, and then I have to let it set for a while. Next few moments of the video, I'll have to narrate it for you. Here I'm pouring the solution into a filter to try to filter out the any lead that may have precipitated out after I added the sulfuric acid. As I get down to the bottom of the beaker, you'll see I've got a little bit of gold down there. It doesn't rinse out very well with water. I tried some sulfuric acid here to rinse it out, and it still wouldn't come out, so I got to get that out of there before I pour the solution back into it. I had a little bit of gold up in the flask up there sitting on the heater also, so I add hydrochloric acid to each of these vessels. And then I'm going to add a couple of ml of concentrated nitric acid to form aqua regia down in there to get this gold to dissolve. It just won't rinse out. It's a very fine sediment. You can't get it rinsed out. So the best way to get rid of it is to dissolve it. That's the flask. After about 2 or 3 minutes, there it is. All the gold is dissolved. It's ready to be poured into my stock pot. Here's the beaker. I got this on speeded up several times, and you can watch the gold dissolve. But this is the way to do this. You can never get all that gold out of there. So it's best to go ahead and just dissolve it and then rinse it out, pour it into the stock pot. Here's my beaker, all cleaned up, free of gold now, ready for the filtered solution to be poured back into it. I add the filtered solution back into the clean beaker now. I'm getting ready for precipitation with sodium metabisulfite. Here I'm going to add the SMB. This will drop the gold out of that solution and leave the platinum solution standing above the settled gold. I'll let this settle overnight. When I come back, I should have all the gold dropped out and just a platinum solution sitting over the top of the gold. I just added that SMB to this solution. It looks brown, like there's gold coming down. And there's some gold flakes on the top there. If the ferrous sulfate crystal test in the spot plate reveals that I have gold in solution, then what I'll have to do is add a little bit more SMB, sodium metabisulfite, until I get all that gold precipitated out of there, and then we can move forward with the platinum group metals refining process. Well, that's part 4 completed. Part 5, I start right in on that tomorrow. Got some metal here, small gold bead, 7.9 grams. I'll put that up on my eBay store. My eBay username is Baffelous, B-A-F-E-L-O-U-S. Or you can type Sritips into the search block on eBay, and that will pull up the items that I have for sale. Thanks for watching.